Hi guys, this is La Contra. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do a basic sleeve. But before we start, please like, share, subscribe, hit on the notification bell to get notifications for future videos. So in order to draft a basic sleeve, you're going to be working with the following measurements: sleeve length 22, armhole circumference 17, elbow length, wrist entry, cap. For the wrist entry, okay, do not measure around your wrist, rather measure around your hand, just like I'm demonstrating for you right now. Measure around your hands because your hand is wider than your wrist. Then the cap height, divide armhole circumference by 3. So I'm working with 17 divided by 3 is 5.66. I approximated it to 5.75 or 5.75. So for the armhole, you're not going to be using the armhole you measured on your body. Rather, you're going to be making use of the armhole circumference on your pattern paper. This is because while you were using your armhole curve to draw the armhole, there was no measurement on it. Okay, so you have to work with the armhole on the pattern. You measure around it. So this is the front pattern. Measure around the front pattern with your tape, or if you have a flexible ruler like this, you can also use it to measure around the armhole of your pattern papers. So you measure the front and measure the back. Yep. So the front armhole on this pattern is 8 and 5/8, while the back is 8 1/4. Adding both of them together, it's 16 and 7/8, approximately 17 inches. So with that info, we can move to drafting the sleeve. So here, first of all, you're going to draw a margin at the top of your paper, and then you split the paper into 2 equal halves with a center line like I have done. So from the top line, you're going to impute the following measurements: the cap height. So right now from that top line, I'm going to measure and mark cap height, which is 5 3/4. Next, I'm going to be imputing elbow length, which is 12 inches. So from this top line, I'm going to measure 12 inches down. Endeavor to measure and mark this measurement on at least 2 points. Okay, this is to enable you draw straight lines. Next, I'm going to measure sleeve length, which is 22 inches. So with my ruler, I'm going to connect all these points. So the top line is the cap line, the next line is the bicep line, this is elbow line, and of course hemline down here. On the cap line, I'm going to measure from the cap line to the bicep line using my ruler. Okay, I'll measure half of the armhole circumference. So making sure that the ruler touches the center of the cap line, measure so that you have half of armhole circumference, which is 8.5. I'm working with 8.5. So that's where 8.5 touches the bicep line. I'm just going to draw that slanted line. So this is half of armhole circumference. If you don't have a small ruler like this, you could also use your tape measure. From there, just measure half of armhole, mark it on the paper, and then rule your line. It's all good. I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side. Half of armhole circumference, like so. Okay, so the next thing, you come to the hemline. On the hemline, you're going to do half of wrist entry. So you're going to do that on both sides of the hemline. So wrist entry is 9, half of that is 4.5 here and 4.5 on the other side. Okay, 4.5 plus 4.5 is 9. Then with my ruler, I'm going to connect from the bicep line to the hem line. So this is front and I'm drafting the back here. So to complete the cap of the sleeve, I'm going to measure this line and divide it into 2. So this is 8.5, the midpoint is 4¼ okay. So I'm still going to divide this into 2 again. So half of 4¼ is 2 and 1/8 here. Okay, 2 and 1/8. So I've successfully divided this line into quarters. I'm also going to divide the other one into quarters. So having done this, on this first line, I'm going to square in by ½ inch. So pay attention. Okay, you see that's ½ inch. From this middle point, I'm going to square out by ½ inch. ½ inch. And then from here, I'm going to square out by 3/4 inch. 3/4 inch or 0.75. So ½ inch. Let me just write it for you guys. Square out by 1/4 inch. Square out by 3/4 inch. Next, on this other side here, starting from here, I'm going to square in by 3/8 of an inch. 3/8 of an inch. And then on the middle point, I'm going to square out by 1/4 inch. And here I'm going to square out by 5/8 of an inch. 5/8 is that point before 3/4 inch. So having done this, we can do the cap of the sleeve. So with your armhole curve, you're going to place it so that it touches the center of the cap, touches the 3/4 mark and the 1/4 inch mark. Okay, so you're going to draw one curve. Then turning your curve this other way, you're going to draw your curve so that it touches that ½ inch mark and touches the bicep line. Then complete your curve. Okay, you see that S shape. You're going to repeat the same on the back. So you just position your French curve and then draw and then flip it the other way around and complete the cap. Yep, so with this your cap is ready. So now I'm going to impute seam allowance. So for the underarm seam, I'm doing 0.5. The underarm seam depends on the side seam of your garment. If your side seam is 1 inch, then your underarm seam is going to be 1 inch. If your side seam is 0.5, then do 0.5. But for this tutorial, I'm doing 0.5. On the hem of the sleeve, I'm doing 1 inch for seam allowance. And then on the cap of the sleeve, okay, before we do the sleeve cap, I'm just going to draw the seam allowance at the hem. I'm also going to complete the underarm seams. Okay, so here you can see I've also added 0.5 seam allowance around the cap of the sleeve. Okay, so having done this, from this 0.5 mark on the front, mark 0.5 upwards again. This is going to be the front notch, and the front notch is just 1. Okay, then from the 3/8 mark on the back cap, mark 0.5 upward once and mark 0.5 again. So on the back sleeve cap you have 2 notches to show that that is the back. So 1 notch in front, 2 notches for the back. So it's time to cut. Your sleeve is going to look like this. I hope you found this tutorial very helpful. Okay, if you have any questions, leave your questions in the comment section. Please like, share, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos. Bye for now.